My next guest is a featherweight contender from Victorville, California. And on September 8th, he'll be headlining Cage Warriors 159 in San Diego, California. He's the man they call the green light. Rob Hernandez joins me right now. Rob, I appreciate you. Welcome. I know we're in camp right now, but this fight's coming up here in a couple of weeks. I'm sure you're really excited to show out for your people.
Yes, I'm excited, man. It's been brewing. I've been brewing. I like to tell people, I'm the best kept secret. I'm that guy that, I'm flying under the radar a little bit, and they get to know who I am. I'm beating these high level gyms. We got the secret sauce up in Victorville in Cobra Kai. I know it sounds like, wait, you're fighting a guy from Cobra Kai, but they get to realize what Cobra Kai is about after the fight. These high level gyms are starting to realize I'm putting us on the map.
And you know what? That's a perfect segue into one of the very first questions I had for you. You train at Joe Stevenson's Cobra Kai there in Victorville. I remember Joe Stevenson. I remember that guy fighting in the UFC in the early 2000s. A really fun, really cool fighter to watch from back in the day. If you're a young cat and you don't know who that is, make sure you go on Fight Pass and check him out. You will be entertained. So that history lesson aside, can you tell me about what impact he's made on your MMA career?
Man, Joe Stevenson and the impact that he's done on my whole MMA career, he is the one that's creating. These people that have to fight tooth and nail to get to where they're at. But thanks to my coach Joe, he has so many connections, and not only just the connections on the business side of things, his knowledge, his wealth of knowledge. He's a pioneer in the sport. He's given me the game, and he's feeding it to me constantly. Basically, when people ask me questions about Joe or about just MMA, I just recycle all his information because he's wealth of knowledge. He just has so much knowledge.
Can you tell me, Rob, a little bit? When I think of your gym, like you're the first guy I think of. But can you tell me who are the other people that you get time in with day in and day out?
Jamal Pogues, he fights in UFC. He used to be in our gym. He used to be part of it. He used to be under Joe Stevenson. I trained a lot with him. Dominic Reyes, current UFC light heavyweight. I
Oh,
get
that
him.
guy?
Yeah, him, yes. And so I train with these high level people. Not only that, I train with people like Juan Archuleta.
Yep.
I just thanks to Joe, I get connected to all of these high level fighters, and they sometimes swing by Cobra Kai, and I get in work with them, and I know where I'm at.
Talk about humble beginnings, man. 2017, you drop your first fight, pick up 2 wins in a row, and then everything shuts down because of COVID. So there's like a 2 year window where you're not even able to fight. And like you're just like reinventing yourself and you're just starting to hit your stride and everything
Yeah,
shuts down. And I wanted to ask you because I look at you, I know that you have daughters, I know you have a life outside of fighting, and like all of the
yes.
signs in this world were pointing to, maybe just the timing didn't line up. Maybe this is a sign of God. I should do something completely different. Why MMA? Like, what kept you doing all this? Because I could understand being a father myself. I can understand why you would walk away and just be an electrician or go into computer programming or something
Yeah.
like that. So, what kept you in this?
What kept me in this is the fact that I I'm not a quitter. First of all, I don't quit. I'm not gonna let some natural disasters or what's going on around the world affect. I mean, it did. It almost consumed it. You're right. I was this close, but I already had gave too much of my time, energy, my soul into this sport to just, all right, that's it. Let me just leave now. And that is the reason why.
Mhm.
And then honestly, I never told this, but I made a promise to my wife, and the promise was if I lose when I lost my first pro MMA fight against, I don't want to say his name, I don't want to give him clout, but yeah, uh, I told her, I was like, I give me 3 wins. If I win through the next three, then I'll quit. Then I'll quit. If I win two and then I lose the last one, then I'll quit. So when I was on my 2 fight win streak, COVID hit, and I was like, I I still had to keep up with that promise. We still had to figure that one out. And thankfully, what, five wins later, here we are, 7-1. I'm talking to you, I'm talking to other people, and it feels good. It feels good.
And that was like one of, I think, the there's like a life lesson there, right? Where it's like the chips get down, whether it be because of what happened in the cage or just crazy events outside of the cage. Like you ended up like sticking with this. And now here we are. You get involved with Cage Warriors and you go on this tear, and people like me on the other end of the country are paying attention to this, being like, man, who is this dude? Like, and can you tell
Yeah.
me a little bit, like, from the moment you signed with Cage Warriors initially to now, has in the back of your mind, has it always been like, you know what, I gotta like show these people what I'm about. I gotta show these people what I can
Yeah.
do, and I gotta represent my gym correctly. And I'm just kind of trying to understand your mindset when you first signed with Cage Warriors and what that experience has been like.
When I first signed with Cage Warriors, I was hungry. I just didn't get a chance to fight, so I was really really hungry, and I feel like the world didn't get to see who Roberto the Greenlight Hernandez is. So I remember sitting down with Graham. Graham is the owner of Cage Warriors, and Joe came to him, brought me here, brought me to the dinner table, and he was like, "Yeah, this is my guy." And Graham was like, "We'll see what we can do. You know, he if he is what you say he is, then you know, we're gonna we'll look out for him." So I was like, "Man, this is the biggest opportunity that I ever had in my life. Like, I'm just buzzing. I'm like a little kid again, feeling like a little boy. Like this is my opportunity." So when I first fought in the Cage Warriors, you know, I'm a leg lock guy. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt under Joe Stevenson. Now under any black belt, I'm under Joe Stevenson. So I had to show them who I was. And the first things they gave me a guy named Ethan Ewing. And sure enough, he played into my game plan. He is a wrestler, so he tried to take me down, and then I got to show a little bit of my grappling game. And then as my fight started going, everyone's scared to take me down. So now I get to show these paws. I get to show them my hands. And now they're starting to see. Like I can even see in the middle of the fight, like in weigh-ins, I don't look like a I don't look I don't I'm to be honest, I'm a small 145er. So when I'm fighting these real 145 big dudes, I can see them weigh-ins. They're looking at me look up and down. They think it's a piece of cake. Like they don't take me serious.
Mhm.
But then when we fight, in the middle of the fight, they get like, oh shoot, like this is a fight. Hold on, like I'm really fighting. This guy's getting me. So then so now they get starting to see. Thanks to Cage Warriors, I get to see. The world gets to see my grappling and my striking.
And that is a really interesting point because I think of Cage Warriors, right? We know that they're based out of England, but then they come to Southern California. They fight at Humphreys on the Bay, which is outside. That looks really unique when you're watching it on TV. And I think they do a really good job of promoting those shows in particular because they're in Southern California. But with that comes expectations, right? You have Angela Hill will show up, Steve-O will show up, Dominic
Yeah,
Cruz might show up. And like all of a sudden, it's like, God damn, like here I am in my third or fourth pro fight, and I have like all these lights, all these people showing up.
yeah.
And did that kind of like trip you out when you first got with Cage Warriors?
No, I never got tripped out because I've always been around in the training rooms with high level fighters, UFC fighters. I don't want to say names, but I piece them up. I piece them up. I do my thing with them, and I feel like I belong here already. And let's not beat around the bush. I'm 30 years old now,
Mm-hmm.
so this is it. Like this is like I got a good 5, 6, 7 years to do something before it's too late. Before my body starts declining and I start going over that hill. So I feel like I always belonged. I feel like I earned it. I feel like yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be when I'm seeing all this
When I look
start.
at when I look at you, Rob, I think of activity right away. You're one of the most active fighters on the regional MMA scene that I know about for Cage Warriors. Like you're out there every 6 months. You're out there. You're performing. You're making the weight. And I that was like one of the things I kind of picked up on. I'm like, wow, this guy's 30 years old. So, hey, listen, I'm a lot older than 30, but I will tell you, your body feels a lot different when you're 30 compared to when you're 20. I'm not an athlete, but even I know that just from lifting weights and
Yeah.
going on runs and stuff. I know that. But you're an elite athlete and you're competing at a very high level. And I wanted to ask you, like, in terms of your recovery, do you have to like methodically game plan that months in advance for some of these fights?
No, to be honest, I've been doing the same thing I've been doing since I'm 20 years old. My body, thankfully, I don't have miles in my body. I started this sport when I was 19 years old. I didn't start when I was like 12. So 19, and then training under Joe Stevenson, he has helped my training as the critical years. The first years is critical. The first 5 years where you take all the damage, you take all you don't know. He was guiding me. That's the what do you call it? That's a life hack, coach hack, thanks to Coach Joe. So Coach Joe took care of my body because he went through it. He was a pioneer. He wrecked his body. So now he's giving me that physical health throughout my MMA career.
I'm joined on the show today by Rob Greenlight Hernandez, and he's coming into Cage Warriors 159 on a headline fight September 8th. Make sure you check that out. Rob, I would be remiss to not ask you about the Moses Diaz fight from Cage Warriors 155, a high-level, undefeated guy that you fought earlier this summer in June. Wow, like this was a fight that I had circled. I looked at this fight and I was like, a really good fighter is about to lose tonight. Let's see what happens. You pick up a unanimous decision victory over this guy. Walk me through this one. What are some of the things that you remember about fighting Diaz?
When I fought Moses Diaz, I underestimated him too. I thought that he is a slow fighter. For me, my boxing, because I know boxing, I learned from a real good boxing coach. He taught me timing, he taught me speed, he taught me footwork. Moses was too flat-footed. He's too slow. He throws too much power shots. I could literally look at him while he's throwing a punch. I could go use the restroom, come back, and then slip the punch. That's how much I already knew, like, he was just too slow. Mm-hmm. And walking through it, one thing I can share is he's a dog too. He's that mentality-wise, I'm starting to reach that next level. He has that same mentality. He's not going to quit. He's going to keep coming. And what I take out of that is I outsmarted him. I used my brain and not my physical, like, to win that fight.
Here we are 3 months later, and you're going to be fighting Toby Misech. This is a guy that has been around MMA for a very long time. I think of him, and I think of striking. I think of knockout power right away. When this name was offered to you, what were some of the things that you and your coach were talking about, in terms of like a matchup and how you stack up against him?
I know that Toby Misech is very fast, but I'm a better timer than him. He likes to throw combinations, and I'm a better timer than him. At the end of the day, it's my footwork and timing that's going to beat him. I can't leak too much of my game plan, but I know that whatever he has for me, I'm going to be ready for all his quickness, and he doesn't know boxing the way I know boxing, because it's going to most likely be a striking match, heavy boxing, a little bit of kicks, maybe a couple of knees that he's going to throw at me, but I'm already ready for all that. I mean, I fought John De Jesus. I got ready for him. Same southpaw. He's much more smarter than Toby Misech. Toby Misech is just a volume guy, just keeps coming, fast. But one thing I do know is in the middle of his shots, if you start timing them good, it's over.
Well, Rob, you get a win over Toby. That puts you at 8-1. And I look at the UFC featherweight division, like there's a lot of really elite level guys, but you have to be looking at these featherweights. Every time UFC's on TV, I'm sure you're watching them and you're like, man, I'm ready. I want to fight these guys like today. Like I no disrespect to Cage Warriors, but it's like, I'm done with Cage Warriors now. I want to fight in the UFC today. When you're with a record of 8-1, I mean, is this going to be the fight that you think that's going to kind of like put you over the edge and like put you on the UFC's radar?
Hopefully it does. I got to put on a great performance. I like to add too, on my last 3 fights, Brian Mitchell, John De Jesus, Moses Diaz, I didn't have a striking coach. It was just me and bag work. Now I have a striking coach. I hired a striking coach. So once I get acclimated, we're working right now. We're brewing. Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna have some good results for the featherweight division in the UFC.
Well, I'm not going to ask you much more about the Toby fight, other than I will say the fight happens on September 8th. And are you still selling tickets for this event? Can people hit you up to buy tickets? What's up with that?
September 8th. If you guys go to my Instagram, Slick Rob MMA. I will have a QR code. I just posted one. You'll see it. I'm just like this, and there's a QR code right there. Click it, scan it, get some tickets, guys. It's gonna be a banger. it's gonna be, who knows? Look, I might even go for a submission. See, that's the thing. They don't know what game plan I'm coming with because I'm versatile. I could show my striking. We could strike, or we could grapple. Which one? So that's what makes me dangerous for Toby Misech, and I'm looking for a finish on this one.
Well, you are an exciting fighter, sir. I like watching you fight. I'm on the opposite end of the country from you. I'm in Washington, D.C., but I know about you and I know what you're capable of doing. And I wanted to use this as an opportunity for you to explain it, not from me, because it'd be cooler coming from you. For people that are in England, for people that are in New York City, in Miami, Rob Greenlight Hernandez, who the fuck's this guy? Like, what are these types of people that have never heard of you before? What can they expect to see when they watch you perform on the 8th of September?
What people could expect from me, for the ones who don't know me, they could expect intelligence first. The greatest fighters are the smartest fighters, not the toughest fighters. They could expect slick boxing. They could expect slick jiu-jitsu skills. It's in my name, Slick Rob. I'm just slick with my technique. You don't see it coming. And if I don't finish you, you figure out why my name is Slick Rob. And then after the fight, you're gonna call me Big Daddy Rob.
Well, Big Daddy Rob, I appreciate your time this afternoon. I wanted to give you an opportunity, sir. If there's anyone that you want to shout out or thank before I let you go, let's do it.
Guys, my sponsor right here, Essentials right here, ATM Buildings. I want to my other sponsor, Safari Pools. Thank you guys for believing in me, and I can't wait to take this dub home. I'm excited. Game time.